2020 challenged us in ways we never thought possible. We faced off against a global pandemic, deepening political polarization, a rise in white nationalism and fanatical extremism, and racial injustices that shook us to the core. The aggregate of these threats to our collective well-being has caused extraordinary emotional harm, particularly with our neighbors of color and those living on the margins. But through it all, Gainesville and its residents showed the resilience and empathy that we've come to expect from this remarkable community. In the aftermath of the killing of George Floyd, organizers worked cooperatively with city community builders, including the Gainesville Police Department, to hold peaceful and powerful demonstrations, continuing Gainesville's long-standing commitment to protecting our neighbors' right to peacefully protest. We came together to right wrongs, to stand up for what we believe, and help one another during the most challenging of times. Through tragedy, neighbor-led efforts like March for Our Freedom harnessed the power of community passion to inspire change and growth.
I definitely consider it a success. After the march was over, we transitioned to a nonprofit organization, and we've been doing a lot around the community, and a lot of community members have also been involved as well.
As a city that celebrates creative expression, we also saw an opportunity to have local artists illustrate both the challenges and possibilities of social justice in America through art. The Social Justice Mural Project was your city's public declaration, a vow to create a future where everyone feels safe, welcomed, and loved. As an agency, our Gainesville Police Department has been cultivating meaningful partnerships with neighbors and neighborhoods. Working with the newly expanded Police Advisory Council, GPD has continued to implement many forward-thinking approaches to policing, including procedural justice training, youth programming, and its highly successful mental health co-responder program.
The Mental Health Co-Responders Program has proven to be a valuable asset to the Gainesville Police Department. Before this team was deployed, generally the last resort was to take this person to jail or whatever the case may be, or detention. But what we have now is a mental health specialist paired with a police officer, and we look for other alternatives. It has saved this community countless dollars of incarcerating individuals, but even more, it has helped those individuals in their road of recovery.
The Mental Health Co-Responder Unit will be adding 3 more teams in the coming months, greatly increasing GPD's mental health diversion efforts. But public safety is about more than crime prevention and mitigation. It's about working to minimize harm and preserve life. Following the recent pedestrian deaths of 2 University of Florida students, the Gainesville Police Department, University of Florida Police Department, and the Alachua County Sheriff's Office are working to prioritize education and enforcement surrounding our traffic laws. Everyone has the right to move about safely, and system designers and policymakers share in this responsibility. We continue to work with the Florida Department of Transportation on roadway systems that will help ensure that human error does not result in severe injuries or fatalities. Taking the time to dig deeper, to uncover the underlying issues that are driving adverse outcomes, that's how we make real progress. That is how we create change. Another shining example of this is our Community Resource Paramedic program. Building on its demonstrated success, the CRP program expanded this year, adding telehealth and addiction response service to its public health portfolio. Growing our capacity to address community healthcare needs has proven beyond a doubt that working intensely with individuals and matching them with the service they need can significantly improve patient outcomes and reduce spending.
The results of community paramedicine here has been significant. We've been able to reduce emergency room visits by about 30% and hospital admissions by 60%. And both of those values hold a significant cost savings, not just to the patients, but to our healthcare system and insurance companies as well. So it really truly is a win-win for the patients and the providers.
Identifying the serious threat that COVID-19 posed in communities that lack access to primary care and transportation, our CRP unit launched a mobile testing program and administered nearly 900 free COVID-19 tests to vulnerable neighbors. Vaccination distribution is now underway in partnership with the Florida Department of Health, mirroring the successful model of healthcare delivery. But we will not be complacent. Gainesville will continue to lay the groundwork for a public health policy that will eliminate health inequities and provide access to high-quality care for all of our neighbors. Like so many of the critical challenges we face, too often we focus on treating the symptoms and not the causes of our problems. Not anymore. Working cooperatively with Grace Marketplace and Alachua County, the City of Gainesville continues its efforts to end homelessness by improving access to housing.
At this point, we are looking at a roster that we've been able to reduce by 85% since Dignity Village closed in March of 2020. So overall, we've moved 119 people into housing. As of today, there are another 9 people moving into housing next week. And overall, we expect to see the entire Dignity Village campground closed after just about a year, with absolutely no arrests, with no displacement of people, and by providing options to people that are really driven by what they wanted and needed.
Despite these Herculean efforts, housing challenges persist, not only for those experiencing homelessness, but for the many in our community who are cost-burdened or pay more than 30% of their annual income on housing. Our focused and talented team of community builders are forging ahead with a housing-first approach that aims to ensure that every neighbor has a safe place to call home.
I'm excited for 2021 to revamping our housing and zoning ordinances, removing exclusionary zoning from our code, and also putting in inclusionary zoning to ensure that everyone in our community has a place to live.
Our new Affordable Housing Action Plan explores several strategies for improving housing access, including creating a community land trust, forming partnerships with area employers to create employer-assisted housing options, and creating an inventory of underutilized land that may be suitable for affordable housing development. Additionally, this year, the Gainesville City Commission unanimously approved a comprehensive set of protections for Gainesville renters. The Renters' Rights Ordinance aims to improve the safety and energy efficiency of rental properties to ensure that substandard rental housing for hardworking families is a thing of the past.
With these new protections, we'll have inspections of rental properties, we'll know where they are, we'll know that they're safe and decent housing for all of our families.
For years, access to safe and affordable housing has been a concern in Gainesville and around the nation, but we are making real progress. We cannot be successful without your help, so let's roll up our sleeves and make it happen together. Never has the value of cooperation and collaboration been more evident than in our collective response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
I think that Gainesville did better than most cities, and I think we did as well as any of the best cities in Florida in responding to the pandemic because we took it seriously from the beginning. We took the guidelines seriously, and we asked people to trust us. We asked people to trust a course that was new. Everyone's life had to change.
Stay-at-home orders, masking mandates, and other efforts were swiftly implemented to keep our community safe. But for many, that meant lost jobs or lost wages, creating significant financial hardships. To meet the most immediate needs of our neighbors, the city reallocated existing financial resources and CARES Act dollars to provide working capital grants to local businesses and provided temporary financial relief on rent, mortgage, and utility payments through the GNV CARES program and the Coronavirus Relief Fund. In total, the city's relief and recovery efforts provided more than $1.5 million in financial assistance to support more than 100 local businesses and nearly 700 neighbors. Additionally, our Gainesville Police Department, Public Works Department, and Gainesville Fire Rescue joined forces with local faith-based organizations to help distribute nearly 656,000 pounds of food to more than 119,000 individuals through the community's Farm Share program. Free drive-through COVID-19 testing at Citizens Field was part of a comprehensive outreach effort in East Gainesville to ensure residents had ready access to testing, personal protection supplies, and educational information about the coronavirus.
I am extremely proud of the way the City of Gainesville pretty much handled the COVID pandemic and the response that went into it, especially the partnerships that were formed, such as the Walmart Foundation, the Public Health Department here in Alachua County, the University of Florida. So many people in the community, Pastor Shirley and her radio station, because of those partnerships, because of the dedication and commitment that went into making sure that we had equal access to testing. Because of those efforts, we were able to test over 1,800 residents in East Gainesville.
In partnership with the Greater Gainesville Chamber of Commerce, the city launched a successful 8-week grab-and-go food program, providing access to nutritious meals for vulnerable residents while also offering much-needed cash to our local businesses. Over 8 weeks, the Feed G&V program served more than 3,100 meals to vulnerable residents and fostered local partnerships with 42 different restaurants.
We heard from our businesses that they were really excited that they could help their local neighbors and that they benefited from it by making sure it strengthened their business and took care of their employees during that period of time.
Downtown business owners and city leaders also joined forces to explore creative solutions for providing safe dining and gathering options. Streetery G&V couples relaxed regulations for street-side dining and open containers with an expedited review process to help restaurants serve more patrons while adhering to COVID-19 social distancing recommendations.
We've been able to bring people back on. We're not full staff back, but we're getting there. And I don't know what it would have been like. Being able to capture the kind of outdoor space with Streetery really bailed us out. I've been asked that a couple of times. Would we have closed without it? I can't say yes, but I definitely won't say no.
With active participation from our community, nonprofits, and local businesses, together we did some extraordinary things in 2020, and the work continues. The economic ramifications of COVID-19 and numerous challenges that lie ahead will require that the cross-institutional partnerships established during the pandemic continue to thrive. In doing so, we will be well positioned to achieve our common objectives.
What I'm really excited about in 2021 is collaborative governance. It's really an understanding and a recognition that we all work for the same residents, the same neighbors. Our city commissioners, our county commissioners, our school board members, our sheriff, we all work for the same people.
Indeed, the collaborative work must continue. The impacts of COVID-19 will last well beyond our ability to accomplish herd immunity through vaccination. While this pandemic did not create inequities, it certainly magnified them. According to the CDC, Blacks and Hispanics were hospitalized with COVID-19 symptoms at more than 3 times the rate of whites, and were nearly 3 times as likely to die from the virus. This brutal reality underscores what we have all known for quite some time. We are failing to meet the needs of all of our neighbors, and there is no vaccine for the structural and institutional injustices that persist. These systems and structures have endured over centuries, and the work to eradicate them will not be easy. Has not been easy. That's why the Gainesville City Commission has placed equity as the North Star in every aspect of our work. As part of our adopted strategic plan and our stated goal of creating a more equitable community, Gainesville is working to build an environment of inclusion and social cohesion for our global neighbors and non-native English speakers. In partnership with the Rural Women's Health Project and with the financial support of 2 grants from Welcoming America, the city will assemble community leaders to create a multi-sectoral immigrant inclusion strategy. Immigrants play a key role in driving economic growth in our community. They enrich academic circles and add immeasurably to the richness of Gainesville's art, cuisine, entrepreneurship, and music scenes. Yes, in Gainesville, we are rethinking every aspect of our social and economic infrastructure. Over the next 6 months, the City of Gainesville will partner with communities historically left out of the planning process to identify how current policies and actions reinforce racial inequity. The city's new comprehensive plan, Imagine G&V, is a legally binding document that will guide our decisions about important investments over the next 10 years. Things like where new homes are developed and what they look like, new bus routes, public housing, where it's located and how it fits into existing neighborhoods, how the city invests in public property, and how the city will go about approving new development. Working together, we can lift up policies and practices that broaden access to affordable homes, quality education, good-paying jobs, and thriving neighborhoods. To effectively build community, we must remain committed to our goals, even in times of unprecedented turmoil, and be certain that our priorities are in line with those of our neighbors. Our strategic plan identifies 5 specific goals, each with a series of prioritized action items. These goals serve as the foundation for all of our decision-making, enhancing accountability and creating an organizational infrastructure for continued improvement. Providing our neighbors with affordable alternatives to fossil fuels is one of many actions the city is taking in its effort to build a sustainable community for the future.
One of our goals as a community, as a city, is to be 100% renewable regarding energy by 2045. We've made a huge step toward that in 2020 by implementing the beginnings of a 50 megawatt solar farm for GRU's fleet.
GRU has long been a pioneer in renewable energy. This new power purchase agreement represents the first utility-scale solar project in the GRU service area and moves us closer to our goal of 100% renewable energy by 2045. An all-around win for GRU customers, our city, and the environment. But we recognize that building a sustainable future requires much more than reducing dependence on fossil fuels. We must also find ways to reduce energy consumption and waste, including food waste. Wasted food is a drain on our agricultural resources and comes with significant environmental costs. Working with the USDA, Grow Hub, Working Food, and Beaten Path Compost, Gainesville Solid Waste Division has embarked upon an 18-month pilot project to recycle organic materials and keep the potent greenhouse gas methane out of the atmosphere. The unfortunate paradox, of course, is that while we work to mitigate the environmental impacts of food waste, we must also work to improve food access in areas of our community that still lack availability to healthy foods. Through a new Edible Groves project, the city is planting fruit and nut trees in public parks that all neighbors will be invited to enjoy. The city will also be working over the coming year with community partners to explore opportunities to enhance the city's community garden program and to support small markets in low-income communities sell healthier food options. In Gainesville, we are committed to improving quality of life for all neighbors, to create a community where people are not simply satisfied, but feel rooted in this community through a genuine sense of place. Few cities can match the variety of cultural assets, the array of arts, and the abundance of social offerings that one can find here in Gainesville. We recognize the crucial role that these social and recreational amenities play in people's sense of well-being and community pride. Thanks to our Wild Spaces Public Places half-cent sales tax, in this year alone, renovations at Albert Ray Massey Westside Park, A. Quinn Jones Museum, the Hippodrome Theater, and Northside Park have made a visible and lasting impact for our community. I know it's easy, especially in times of hardship, to see with perfect clarity what's not working. But let's never miss the opportunity to recognize our community's many strengths. When neighbors love where they live, appreciate its strengths, and celebrate its many assets, higher levels of economic growth are sure to follow. Of course, we cannot be the city, the community that we are destined to be without the help of our outstanding partners. I would like to thank the University of Florida, Santa Fe College, Alachua County Public Schools, Alachua County, the Greater Gainesville Chamber of Commerce, the many outstanding nonprofit agencies, and you, our neighbors. You are our purpose, our inspiration, our brothers and our sisters. 2020 challenged us in unimaginable ways. 2021 will be the year that we reemerge, rebuild, and rise up together. I'm so proud of you, Gainesville. I'm so proud of the work we've done together, and I'm so proud of the work ahead of us. This year will be the year centered on unity, empathy, and love for one another. Thank you.